What's going on? Ryan Troy back with another video for you today. Now I don't know if it's just me, but I think Nikon been listening to a little bit too much Kendrick Lamar, because they just came out like they not like us on a back-to-back. Now yesterday was supposed to be the Nikon Z6 III launch day, right? And I'm all, well, I wish I could say I'm excited, but I don't have one. Either way it goes, right? I'm watching everybody else full of excitement, and as I'm just chilling in the middle of the night, I see Matt Granger release a video, the 35 1.4 announcement. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this has to be breaking some type of NDA, because it ain't no way that Nikon was going to just like throw this in it. Like, this is one of those Steve Jobs and there's more type of moments right there. But they came with the back-to-back. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the Drake or if it's the Kendrick, but I'm loving it. Now, I kind of love it for different reasons than you may think, actually. Now, I was having this conversation a couple days ago, and this release of this lens just came perfect, like the perfect timing. Now, if you're here and you don't shoot Nikon, stick around, because it's not even just a Nikon thing that I'm talking about. Now, they released a 35 1.4 lens that is cheaper than the 35 1.8. Now, the 35 1.8 lens is phenomenal. I had it. I don't have it anymore because I don't shoot 35 that often. I know it's a lot of you guys' favorite focal length to shoot, but for me, it's just not. I prefer 50. But the thing about that 35 lens is it is a S-line lens. Now, when I spoke to a lot of my friends years ago, when I was trying to get them to come over from DSLR to mirrorless, I was telling them, you need to shoot this. Like, what are you waiting for? And their biggest thing was they do not have any fast lenses on the Z mount. And I'm trying to explain to them. Now, I've had a 50mm lens from the DSLR one and the DSLR Nikon one, and it does not compete with this Z lens at all whatsoever. It is nowhere close to it. It blows it out the water. And I've seen a lot of other competitors 50mm lenses and stuff, and I know that this is about 35, but just let me get to this point, please. Now, what Nikon was able to do with these 1.8 lenses, which all of them are S-line lenses, is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like that. And I tried to explain that all of the time. I tried to explain it. And what they gave us right now is a 35 1.4 lens that is not S-line, and it is cheaper than the 1.8. And the reason why is because, and this is what I try to tell people, stop letting the aperture determine the worth of that lens, or determine how special or beautiful or well made that lens is. Just because something has a lower aperture does not mean that you are going to get better photos. It does not mean that it is a way better lens than it is. Now, I had the 28 2.8 lens before that Nikon makes, and I just sold it. Actually, I just sold that lens because although it was 2.8, it, like, that 24 to 70 f4 lens is probably way better, even though it doesn't go down to 2.8. Perfect example, I just bought the 17 to 28 2.8 lens, like $1,200. I love it. It is a beautiful lens. I love that lens. But Nikon also makes the 14 to 30 f4 lens, and that f4 lens is actually an S-line lens. The lens that I just bought is not an S-line lens, and that lens performs way better than the lens that I have now. Even if you put both of them at f4 and put both of them at, let's say 17, the 14 will perform way better. Now, the reason why this is because when a lot of us reviewers do these reviews, they breeze past it. Like, they say it, but they breeze past it like it's not important. Oh, it has this many blades and all of this other stuff. And people are like, yeah, whatever. They see the price, or they see the, the aperture, and they judge it by that. But those things are important. Now, I can't really pronounce what it is, but it's like aspherical or something like that. See, I don't know myself, but I know this. The 35 1.8 got like 2 of them things, and the 34 1.4 got like 0 of them things. It ain't even like, it's just 0 of them things. They got none at all. So with that being said, it's like the way these lenses are built, when you look at these third-party manufacturers and you're like, oh, I'm gonna just go buy a Sigma, I'm just gonna go buy a Tamron, and I'm not trying to, you know, jump and say that none of those brands are good, because like I said, I do beauty and I use the Sigma macro all of the time. I love that lens. But what I'm saying is, it's something that those lenses aren't giving you. They have to cut costs somewhere, and they are cutting it with supplying things that the Nikon S-line lenses have. So Matt Granger dropped that video, and to me, he looked kind of frustrated because Nikon gave him this lens to review, and it feel like it was kind of last minute. But since it don't have those extra things, it'll be way better to test for like ghosting and you know, just all of the other things like that, chromatic aberration. It'll be better to test things like that with this lens outside. Now, when you're inside in a controlled environment, then yeah, of course, it's gonna look great because you don't have to worry about all of those extra things. So I am curious to see what it's gonna be like out there. I'm probably gonna buy this lens. And the reason why is because of the price point. It is cheaper than the 1.8. I don't shoot 35mm that often, if at all. So I believe if it's something that I shoot a lot, I want the best quality of it. But if it's something that I just may use for, you know, just if I see something, you know, I don't mind going cheaper when it comes to that. And that's where this lens falls into. I also really love the fact that a lot of these manufacturers are coming up with these different focal lengths and, you know, just these different type of lenses like this, like a 35 1.4 cheap lens. Like how can that even be thought of? Like if you think of the 85 1.4 with the Nikon DSLR, that lens is like over $1,500. We got a 35 1.4 that is, I think it's $599. I think it's $599. That's a steal. So, you know, I love seeing this. And like I said, I just want people to know that just because that aperture is low does not mean it is going to be a better lens. These Nikon 1.8 lenses, these S-line lenses are beautiful. You are doing yourself a disservice if you think that you don't, like, I'm gonna just hold off to come to Nikon until they have every last lens to be 1.2. Now, don't get me wrong, the 1.2 lenses are great, but you see how much that Plena lens costs, that 135 1.8. You see how much that costs. So all of y'all boys out there that love that 105 what is it, 1.4, or is it a 1.4? I think it's 1.4. All of y'all that love that and like, nah, Nikon need to give us this, go try that Plena out. Go try that Plena out and tell me what you're thinking. Because that's a 1.8 lens, and that lens is built like a tank, and it is beautiful. It is phenomenal. So, you know, I just wanted to jump in here real quick. More excitement about these new lenses that Nikon are bringing out. And not just Nikon, Sony, Canon. So much innovation when it comes to these lenses. We are in a new time, and I love that these manufacturers are playing around with these focal distance. You know, you have your Trinity, a 14 to 24, 24, 70, 70 to 80, but then you start getting things like the lens I just got, the 17 to 28, the 28 to 75, and you know, it's so many, like they got a 35 to 150 lens. You know what I mean? Like, it's so many new focal length that is just beautiful. But, you know, until the next time, guys, peace.